What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. It is weekly report time, weekly report number 11, and we're diving into all the good stuff that we picked up this past week, as well as a special ranking of all of the movies that we saw for the month of May. But before we dive into that sweet video, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button down below, smash that like button so we can party on and actually want to make more of these. But with that out of the way, let's dive right into what we're picking up. This is what we picked up for the week of our previous week, the last week of May. I hope your Memorial Day weekend was as festive as mine was with these sweet pickups. You binged your Stranger Things, you binged your Obi-Wan, you saw the mastery that was Top Gun, and then on Tuesday, you went out and you picked up your haul. So for this week, we got, first off, one of my favorite movies. It's always been one of my favorites. I used to watch this all the time with my dad, and it is The Untouchables. We picked up this really sweet steelbook. This is really cool where it's got the bullet holes in it and everything. I like it's got everyone on the front with their names underneath it with The Untouchables. This is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should do your due diligence and get on that ASAP. Now, a movie that I did not see, I skipped out on it in theaters, never saw it, haven't gotten to it around yet, but I figured now that they were dropping it on 4K, it was about time to finally pick it up and give it a shot, and that is Happy Death Day. I wasn't able to get Happy Death Day to you yet, because for some reason the first one was the only one that you could actually get in stores. So now, of course, I gotta go online, and you gotta buy the second one, and you gotta wait for the second one to come in. God, man, why? I don't understand why they didn't just have both of them in stores for me to watch, so I can do a double feature. Because now I gotta wait for the second one to come in before I can actually watch this. And people that I work with constantly rave about these two movies, so I was really hoping to dive into that. But it is what it is. And then our last two ones that come in, I actually got this before its Tuesday release date. I came in a few days early because I knew I was going to I just went ahead and ordered these ones online. One, because I didn't want to miss out on them, and two, because I knew there wasn't a shot in hell that they were actually going to be in stores. And that is A Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. I love spaghetti westerns. Westerns are my favorite genre. So naturally, when I saw that these were getting their 4K releases, I had to go ahead and pick these up. These are two of my favorite spaghetti westerns. Clint Eastwood, Western, Sergio Leone. Of course we're gonna pick these up. That's fucking majesty right there. If I could say words, I'd give them to you. But I trip over myself constantly. If you don't like westerns, I don't know what's wrong with you. Get on them now, watch these. These are fucking incredible. They're so good. And it's a shame Good, the Bad, and the Ugly came out before I really started getting into collecting all this shit. So I only have the DVD of it. I want to upgrade to the 4K one, but I really want a slipcover for it. But the slipcover version on eBay is going for like $400. It's absolutely absurd. So I'm just gonna have to survive with those two for right now until a Hail Mary prayer from God shows up and I can find that one with a slipcover. And then we picked up some older stuff. This is stuff from last week that I had ordered that I had to wait for it to come in from Overline. This one actually I picked up on Tuesday. I just saw it in there and it looked cool. I figured I'd finally give it a chance. I had never seen it, never even heard anything about it, which is pretty much why I picked it up, because I always look forward to getting new movies that I haven't seen, because I love watching new movies. I'm not somebody who rewatches a lot of movies. I'll rewatch movies that I love, that are like my favorites of all time. But for the most part, I always look forward to watching what I haven't seen. So when I saw Tobe Hooper, who did Poltergeist, I saw written by the guy who did Alien, I was like, I gotta pick this up and give this a watch. So I did. And then these are the ones that came in online that I was waiting for. In the Heat of the Night. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. You want to talk about movies that I constantly rewatch? This is a movie that I constantly rewatch. I think this is one of the best detective movies ever made. It is just fan-fucking-tastic. And I can't believe that I had only seen it for the first time during quarantine. I'd finally given this a go because my stepdad was like, yeah, you'll love it. And he was right. I fucking loved it. I don't like the sequel. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. I haven't seen The Organization, which is also on this. So I'm gonna have to give that one a shot, but this movie is fucking incredible. If you haven't seen In the Heat of the Night, you absolutely have to get on that. And then we got our Jack Ryan party with Patriot Games and Sum of All Fears. I'm actually reading the Sum of All Fears book right now. So I'm waiting until I finish that to watch the movie. I've seen the movie, but it was a long time ago. It was probably right when it first came out, which was 2002. Yeah, so it's been a long time since I've seen this, so I have no recollection of it. So once it was coming out in 4K, I was like, you know what? I found the book at a Savers for like $2. So I was like, I'm gonna read the book, and then we'll watch the movie, and we'll see how terrible the movie is compared to the book. Patriot games I love. Harrison Ford is the man. All we need now is Clear and Present Danger in this like awesome slipcover color, and then we got them all. Like I said, we got The Hunt for the Red October up there. We got these two. Now we just need Clear and Present Danger. And then on top of those new releases I took a nice, lovely drive to my local record store where they have a plethora of Blu-rays to choose from. This is the store that it's called High Fidelity. It's on Long Island for any of you people on Long Island that watch this channel. So that's the place that I go to whenever I'm looking for my Blu-rays, that I'm just trying to upgrade from DVD to Blu-rays, and I'm looking for anything with a slipcover. Yes, I'm one of those psychos that wants as many of my movies to have a slipcover as possible, which is why this infuriates me. So yeah, I'm sick like that. But you know, if you're watching this channel for your movie collections and you also collect, you know the struggle. You're probably also sick like me, so you understand. I found one steelbook while we were there, so that was cool. So we got the Hunger Games Catching Fire steelbook right here. So that can go with my old school Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 one, and then of course we have the new Ultimate collection that had come out. So we got a nice little Hunger Games collection there. I've only seen the movies once in theaters, so I really do need to go back and rewatch those. Upgraded Pacific Rim from DVD. All of these now are either upgraded to Blu-ray, or they were movies that I saw in theaters that I didn't have yet that I had to get, and they had a slipcover. So Pacific Rim is an upgrade from a DVD. I had Uprising on Blu-ray, so it's nice to have this one to add to it also, so that they can be once again together. A Million Ways to Die in the West, upgrade from a DVD. It's a fine enough comedy. We've got Brave. I have the Brave Steelbook, but then I saw this awesome slipcover for it, so I wanted to have a slipcover one with it as well. Obviously, when it comes to Disney, I will take as much as Disney as possible, and when you can find them for cheap like that, why the fuck not? American Pie is an upgrade. I now have this, 2, and Wedding, so all I have left is American Reunion to get. So hopefully one day we'll come across that with a slip. Monsters University. This is an upgrade from a DVD. I want to get the Steelbook. The Monsters Inc. and Monsters University are those when Pixar released that like awesome line of Steelbooks that they did for all those Pixar movies. Like those are the last two that are like actually gettable right now. The other ones that I'm missing, Ratatouille, Up and not Up, I have Up. Ratatouille and Wall-E are like gargantuan amounts of money, and it makes me mad. We've got Ride Along. Never had this movie, but I did see it in theaters with my friend Bobby, so obviously we had to finally add it to the collection. Red, it's an upgrade from a DVD. This is a pretty fun movie, so it was nice to have that in the party. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, upgraded from a DVD. I saw it in theaters, so obviously it had to be upgraded at some point. The movie is absolute nonsensical silliness. I loved the book. I was so hyped for this movie because I read the book in like one sitting, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then me and my buddy Bobby went and saw it, and we both had read the book, and we were like, fuck, it sucked. So a lesson to you kids. If you want to see the movie version and you want to enjoy it, don't read the book. And then last but not least, upgraded from a DVD, we've got Wreck-It Ralph. I would love to find the Steelbook for this someday, but not holding on hope for that. But that is the DVDs. Up next, we're going to rock into these cool collectibles. Obviously, we've got our posters, but I was able to pick up the sweet tin for Top Gun Maverick. I don't want to take it out of the plastic, so you're just gonna have to look through it there. It's got the emblem on it, and right there in the front, and then in the back, it has got the thing for Fighter Town, which looks like it's like another emblem back there. Really cool addition to all the tins that I have for various movies. And then now we'll rock into the posters. I know that's what you're all really here for, if I can get that to rock out. So I got 3 of them. All right, so that's gonna go around this way. All right, so it's gonna be tough to show. We got, let's get this party started. We got the Bob's Burgers right there. That's a really cool looking poster. That was the, I think, first Bob's Burgers poster that came out to hype up that movie. And then they released this Bob's Burgers one, which had them all up on it. Just the family, the Belcher family. And then on the back, we got a boy. We got the man, the myth, the legend himself. I know you all went and saw this movie this weekend. It's gonna look backwards to you, but I don't feel like whipping it around. It's forwards to me, backwards to you. But we've got Top Gun Maverick. Just a fucking phenomenal movie. Everybody went and saw it. Everybody's fucking loving. It is spectacular. I'm glad to have this poster. I had a few other ones that look really cool, but we didn't get them, and I was a little upset by that because I would love to have as much Top Gun stuff as I possibly can. And now we get into our ranking of all of the movies for the month of May that we saw. We saw 7 of the newly released movies for the month of May. Pretty much all of the movies released in theaters with the exception of 1 and a few of our streaming movies. So we're gonna dive into that right now. Kicking us off at number 7 is probably my least favorite movie of the entire year so far. And that is the Netflix released movie Senior Year starring Rebel Wilson. A tired comedy about a high school girl who falls into a coma to wake up 20 years later and decides that she wants to go back to school and finish off the year that she was denied. It is just painfully unfunny. It's cliche after cliche after cliche. The jokes are not funny. It's very tired formula. The main character is not even likable, and it's just like very bizarre in how it goes. I don't like the movies where it's like you get the new generation of kids that like nobody can like relate to because they're all just like woke and all that stuff. But I feel like even kids from that generation don't even like this movie because it's just like it's such a narrow-minded like viewpoint to take of them to like take these weird pot shots at them. I don't know. It's wholly bizarre. The movie's all over the place. It's just tonally a mess. And it was one of those movies that was like so bad that I couldn't turn it off because I needed to see just like how much worse it could get. And it just continuously got worse and worse until the movie ended with a cheer dance at graduation with all the characters of the movie. And yeah. Oh, it's so bad. But after that, at number 6 is the newest Stephen King newest Sting. I can't fucking talk at all. Sting King. Newest Stephen King adaptation. There we go. Third time's a charm. Firestarter. Another movie, much like Senior Year, that is just very cliche ridden. It's funny that the worst movies of the year are also the ones that are the shortest. Like you would think that they would be able to like have this fast pacedness to it that like you would at least be able to stomach it. But they make those movies feel so long with how terrible they are. Firestarter at least has a few positives. Senior Year had no positives. Firestarter had a few positives. One of them, John Carpenter doing the music. The music in that movie is fucking bangarang. It made some of those scenes like worth watching simply because the music was just so sick. I was like, wow, like this is actually like fucking good right here. And then the finale. The finale is bonkers. It is balls to the wall. Like it is a shame that the rest of the movie didn't have the forward momentum to build to that point. Like that seemed like just like a completely different movie right there. It was just wild. Super entertaining those last 2 minutes. So those two things alone helped make this movie rise just slightly above Senior Year. But that gets rid of the bad movies. The rest of these movies now were all like good to really good to phenomenal. When we kick it off with number 5, I know it's probably going to send a couple of you shills up a wall, but number 5 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. A movie that is a fine enough blockbuster. It's a popcorn movie. To me, superhero movies are popcorn movies. You go in, you turn your brain off, you're gonna look at some neat images, and you'll just enjoy yourself for like 2 hours. Me, I don't really like superhero movies, so obviously this falls more towards the bottom for me. This is one of the tougher outputs from them simply because there just seems like a lot of tonally inconsistent portions of this movie. I think a lot of the character motivations are kind of all over the place. Doctor Strange kind of just like floats in and out of his own movies. He never really seems to be like a focal point even in his own movie. Like everyone's always talking about Wanda in this one. Wanda, who is the most inconsistent character I've ever seen, jumping from movie to movie at this point. And this one takes it to a completely whole different fucking level. I think what definitely hurt this movie is the fact that it had to come on the heels of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a movie that was absolutely fucking incredible and managed to do so much with its multiverse with a fraction of the budget of Doctor Strange. And I think that's where Doctor Strange falters the most, is for a movie that's called The Multiverse of Madness, we go to legit 3 different multiverses and they're all just different versions of New York. Like, that's really the most of the multiverse you see is when they first do that jump and they just go through a whole bunch of different like types of styles and animations. That's the most Multiverse of Madness shit that you see, and that's like maybe a 25 to 30 second scene. So it's a movie that's very tonally inconsistent. There's still a lot of positives to it. I think bringing Sam Raimi in to do it was a really genius idea. If anyone was going to make that work a decent amount, it was going to be him. And definitely the moments where they let him flourish is probably the parts of the movie that I enjoy the most. Even though I think Wanda Maximoff's character is all over the place, I think Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress, and I think she did an absolutely stellar job portraying the shit that they want her to try and portray in that movie. She did a really good job. I think the whole dead Doctor Strange thing at the end is so Sam Raimi. It's fucking great. But there's just so many like random silly things that just don't coalesce together to make this like a really fun, cohesive movie. It's just like a standard Marvel blockbuster at this point. You've seen them before. You're gonna see it again in a month with Thor. It's the same movie every time. So it's like it's not much that gets me excited anymore. So it drops in here in the middle of the pack at number 5. Dropping in next at number 4 is a movie that had no business even being made, let alone being this good. And that is Chippendale Rescue Rangers. This is a movie that when I first saw that first trailer for, I was like, what are you doing? There's no fucking way. And it's not even Chippendale's voices, it's John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. Like, what are you doing? There's no way. And then they dropped the feature-length trailer, and it put all my worries aside, and I actually became super excited for this movie, which turned out to be pretty much a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You're following Chippendale at years after their show Chippendale Rescue Rangers has gone off the air, and they're trying just to live through their lives right now. Freaking Dale got his CGI 3D upgrade, so he's just trying to hang on to like a lost relic. Chip has moved on, he's selling insurance, he's just jaded like after the mess that was Hollywood, and the two of them has now come together again to try and solve a mystery of what happened to their best buddy Monterey Jack. It's super silly, it's so off the walls zany, and it has so many Easter eggs and just great bits of animation in it that it is just a wholly like wildly inventive fun movie. They deserve a pat on the back for making that movie work as well as it does. It is an absolute bangarang movie. The Easter eggs alone are so fucking funny in it. Like I watched it twice simply. It's on the second time that I can just stare into the background and try and pick up all of the Easter eggs that they would just cram into those scenes. Seth Rogen especially is super funny. Whoever came up with the idea to be like, we'll have Seth Rogen play a character, and then like after he like gets jumped, he'll meet all of the animated characters he plays, and they'll just have a loop where all of them are laughing over each other. Inspired. Give that person $1 million because it's absolutely hilarious. This is a movie. This was a geniusly made movie for Disney Plus, and an absolute win for them. Number 3 is a World War II movie released on Netflix. It is Operation Mincemeat. It tells the story of a group of European generals or commandos or whatever. I don't know the fucking military. But a bunch of dudes high up in the military who create this secret plot to try and convince Germany that they will be hitting a certain point when in reality they're going to be hitting somewhere completely different. And their idea to do this is to put a dead body in the water off the shores of like Italy with some secret coded message to convince the Germans that they are going to attack in a different place so that they'll move all of their people off of a beachhead that they're actually going to hit. It is a really good drama movie, obviously based on a true story. It is super interesting. I love when they make movies like this about some stuff that like you know a little bit about but not too much about, so afterwards it kind of like incentivizes you to want to learn more about that moment in history, and that's exactly what this movie did. It was super interesting, gripping. It was just entirely entertaining. All the actors in it just hit top notch. It was a movie that I was just along for the ride from the get-go. I was in, I was sold, I loved it. It was just super entertaining and a lot of fun. And it made me want to learn more about the situation afterwards, which I did looking up documentaries and reading about it and looking up fucking videos on YouTube that people talk about it. So I love when a movie can do that for you, where it gives you that drive to want to learn more about the subject matter afterwards. So that was an absolute win for Netflix coming back after that dreadful senior year. So good on you, Netflix. Coming in at number 2 is the animated flick Bob's Burgers, the Bob's Burgers movie. This movie was a lot of fun. Anybody who likes Bob's Burgers is going to love this movie. It's basically just an extension of the show. It doesn't try to go or do anything too zany just because they're doing a movie. It's pretty much, to me, it just feels like an episode of the show that just happens to be 90 minutes long. And that's to its strengths. It works so well for them that they don't try and do like something too crazy. Like it worked for The Simpsons, where they were like, let's do this big fucking crazy zany plot. But I like that for Bob's Burgers, it took a different route, and they were basically just like, let's create a story which could just be an episode, but it just happens to be 90 minutes long. And it's great. Everything you love about the show is there. The silly cast of characters, the lovable goofiness between all the members of the family, the kids firing on all cylinders, freaking Bob himself is hilarious. Linda, the wife, is hilarious. Just everybody in that show. It's just one of those shows that like, it just knows exactly what it is and what it wants to be, and it just is just perfect. I fucking love that show. It's one of my favorite of the animated shows that you see on TV today, along with The Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park and all that stuff. Bob's Burgers has found a way to just like quickly slot itself like all the way up there at the top of those other ones. It's so underrated. It is just absolutely fantastic. And it was such a good movie to put out for Memorial Day weekend. Just such a fun animated movie to take in after a nice summer hot day on the beach. But there can only be one, and it's no shock to anybody. This is probably everybody's favorite movie of the month, with the exception of the Marvel shills. But to anybody who loves movies and was looking to get that beautiful return to cinema, a movie that makes you fall in love with movies, a movie that makes you want to return to the cinema in droves, it's Top Gun Maverick. This movie is absolutely phenomenal. It is a roller coaster ride. It is a movie that makes you feel every bit of emotion that you can feel in a movie. It's fun, it's gripping, it's tense, it's emotional, it's heartfelt. It's just such a perfect movie in a way that only Tom Cruise can still pull off. That man is the last bona fide movie star. And just the usage of it's a perfect movie to show how you should blend practical effects with CGI in today's film place. There should be no need to do these ridiculously over-the-top CGI fests anymore. Like, just take a look at any Marvel movie where they show you the behind the scenes, and it's just green screen after green screen after green screen on spots that don't even need green screen. Like, you'll see something in like Spider-Man where it's just like him and Doctor Strange are just on like a sidewalk in New York talking, and it's just besides the sidewalk, everything else is green screen. And it's like, why? It blows my mind. We've gone so off the deep end with CGI explosion fests that to get something like this with Top Gun, where it's a movie that has very little CGI, and even the CGI that is in there, it's so hard to pinpoint where it is because they've blended it so well with practical effects that it's seamless. It's movie magic. It makes you believe in the movie magic again because you're watching something where you can't tell what spot is real or not. And that's a beautiful thing in movies. movies. We don't get that too much. I know I'm shitting on Marvel a lot here, but there's plenty of other offenders, not just Marvel, that do this, where it's just like you see something and you're just like fake, 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 fake. You can spot the CGI from a mile away. The uncanny valley is so prevalent in those big blockbuster movies that it was such a breath of fresh air to get a movie like this where everything looks real. Even when you see them like turn on like the pedal to the metal in the fucking fighter jets and you see the G-forces like on their face where like they're just like kind of like being pulled back, like, and you can't, like, that's not fake, like, that's real, and it shows, and it's just done in a way that it's like, if you had done that with CGI, it would look fucking awful. And it's just like, thank God for Tom Cruise, who is a man that pushes practical effects as much as they can. They do as much as they can in-house. We need more filmmakers and directors and studios and stuff like that that are willing to push the envelope like that, because CGI should be used sparingly. It should be used to complement practical effects. It should only be used to do things that cannot be done in actual reality. So they need to find a way to work that and coalesce that perfectly, and Top Gun Maverick should be the blueprint for that. That is a movie that should be the standard bearer for showing how you can blend CGI and practical effects together to create movie fucking magic. But that'll do it for all of us here at The Outpost. It's been a wild ride today. We saw what we collected. We drank down everything from May. May was a pretty good month for movies. Really only 2 movies that I would never ever want to watch in my fucking life again. So it's a pretty good month. Be on the lookout for the next video where we are going to talk about our most anticipated for the month of June. We are finally into the thick of the summer movie season, and we're getting some heavy hitters in June. So we're going to rank those bad boys up and see just what I am most excited for. But that's another day. That's another story. We're finishing it up right here. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit a like button on that bad boy so we can get a little algorithm going up to the top here. Let us get a little bit more traction out into the world. But that'll do it for all of us here at The Outpost. I have been me, you have been you, and until next time, adventure on.